Some conversations do not try to impress you. They invite you to slow down and listen a little more closely to what is shifting, to what no longer fits, to what wants to emerge next. This is Journeys of Empowerment, a circle of belonging, a space where founders and leaders share the moments that quietly changed how they live, work and lead. I'm your host, Michiel Sujit-Rijt. Before we step into today's conversation, I want to acknowledge our sponsor. Imagine this. Your managers give feedback every single day. The training was done, the message was clear, and still behavior does not change. Not because people do not care, but because reinforcement is often unclear. And leaders do not actually know what is driving behavior in their teams. That is where Reinforcer.ai comes in. Reinforcer.ai analyzes everyday leadership conversations and show managers very concretely what reinforced the right behavior, what missed the mark, and what to focus on next time. It's built on proven behavioral science and makes behavior change practical, measurable, and part of daily work. If you are curious what your daily conversations are really reinforcing, you can explore Reinforcer.ai. And now, let us return to the heart of this episode. Let's step into this conversation. What if the story that shapes you does not have to keep deciding who you become? In this episode, I sit down with Krystal Wu, founder of WayBeyond Coaching, and someone who supports leaders to work across differences with more clarity, care, and self-trust. Krystal's story begins in Southeast China in 1995, shaped by the one-child policy and the hidden reality of being born as a second child. Moved between caretakers from the age of 1, she grew up carrying questions about home, belonging, and identity. What stayed with me was how clearly she spoke about the shift from living inside victimhood to stepping into agency. Not by erasing the past, but by letting it present without letting it lead. We explore the courage it takes to change even when familiarity feels safer, how early context shapes identity and emotional expression, how grief moved through her after losing her mother in late 2024, and the tools that grounded her: self-trust, therapy, expressive writing, and a circle of support. She kept it simply. You've got the key. And this state. Your past may shape you, but it does not get to define you. Let's walk into it. Krystal, welcome.
That's good. Thank you so much for having me. Journey of Empowerment.
Wow.
What a great name. What a great name.
Thank you very much. Hey, and I always love to start with a sort of question that normally when we are in an event, people are already looking at your name tag instead of looking you in the eyes and trying to guess, okay, who is this person and what does she or he do? And it made me reflect on, okay, but what do we really know when we answer the question, hey, what do you do? And 9 out of 10, it's about university background, accolades, company names, and everything. But that doesn't necessarily tell anything about who you are, right? So that made me curious, and I would love to start our conversation with Krystal 3.0. Who are you becoming? No. Who are you becoming? No, yeah, yes. We will get to 2.0.
Yeah.
No, but this was unexpected, and I love that. This is the 3.0. Who are you becoming?
Well, I was meant to call it Krystal 2.0, but since I'm 30 now, I guess I would openly take 3.0, you know? I love upgrading myself, like upgrading the software. That means I'm on a journey to always improve myself. And everyone out there listening to this, you should be proud of changing yourself. Yeah.
Why so?
Changing is so better than staying on the same spot. So much better than dwelling by your past.
But it feels so safe. Why should we change?
Yeah.
Why do we need that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But let me ask
Let's
you.
hug the status quo.
Yeah,
Let's embrace the status quo.
Yeah. Where is that safety coming from? Have you ever thought about it?
What's safety for you?
Familiarity. Because that is familiar to us. Because it reminds of us who we were in the past. The 2.0 or 1.0 version of Krystal that I was so familiar with, right? So, but let's not confuse familiarity with safety. Just because something is familiar to us doesn't mean that's the real safety we need.
No, that's true. And a harsh example of that is physical abuse can feel very familiar.
Yes.
But it is, of course, not at all safe.
Yes.
So, and that's, but the reason why we return or become, for instance, when we got ourselves abused, physical abused, and we become an abuser because it feels familiar. But it's not about safety. Hey, but about you. That's interesting. We met, you reached out to me and for a panel conversation and for your beautiful company and movement. Is it, what do you call is it a movement? Is it a platform? What is?
Well, there are two things I'm trying to do. First of all, I'm the founder and intercultural strategy partner from WayBeyond Coaching. WayBeyond Coaching is my own company. It was born under one belief, with my own diverse, nonlinear journey. What can I do for others? I'm here today after nearly 7 years grounding in the Netherlands. I have built a beautiful but chaotic life here. What about others? It's time for me to give back, uplift, and empower others as well. That's why I founded WayBeyond Coaching. And I do it via 2 pathways. So I offer individual coaching. I also offer group learning and bonding. That's my coaching hat. I'm wearing a coach hat right now. On the side, I also want to achieve something for other coaches across the entire country. Doesn't matter where they're from. I'm aiming to build a platform where they can connect with their potential clients, future clients. We are talking about individuals, groups, business representatives, as we mentioned earlier, via this organic way of connection.
And so you're organizing also events, online and offline.
Yeah.
And what are you aiming for with the events?
For the exact same purpose, is to really connect them via word of mouth. And basically, very simple, offer them the time to get to know each other. And I only give them some guiding questions. What I do as a community builder is literally holding up a mirror so they see themselves in that mirror. And the rest is left for them.
Can you give an example of questions you're asking to get people, give people the mirror?
Okay, there's a very powerful question. For example, at the beginning of your event or meetup, ask your attendees this question. What would make this particular event a win for you? And let it land. Let it land. Give them some time to reflect.
It's an interesting question.
Yes, it got your brain activated, isn't it? Right? Because a lot of time when we go to meetup, when we go to events, hey, how are you? What's your name? What do you do? Almost autopilot. Our brains are so used to the exact same questions over and over and over. And each one of us slowly will develop sort of script.
Do you believe that we do that out of also a sort of urge for familiarity, familiar questions?
It's kind of call it a threat of safety or familiarity. This is a script I'm most familiar with. Let me grab that. It always worked. So let me grab that. Yeah.
I've noticed you love the power of questions. Where does your curiosity come from?
Wow, that's a deep question. Let me take a second to think. Where does my curiosity coming from? If Krystal 1.0 was sitting right next to me, right now, the little Krystal, I know her so well. I know curiosity was something born within her. Since the first day when she was delivered at home by a midwife. It was something so deeply in me that I discovered very early on in my life.
What is your definition of curiosity?
Always wanting to know more and always observing.
Always observing, always wanting to know more.
Exactly. That desire, that crave.
It says a lot about who we are, right? And what our inner stance is towards life. And so that's why I'm trying to get a little bit deeper. And in our pre-conversation, you've mentioned that you value context very much.
Yes.
Why does that matter for you so much?
Whew. All right. Allow me to get a little bit emotional because although that question seems very simple, but it touched upon something very important to me. And when we talk about who we are now, we cannot leave who we were in the past alone. So I'm going to tell you a little story. I think it has a lot to do with the way how I was brought up. It has a lot to do with the way who Krystal 1.0 was when she was little. So let's go there. Yeah.
Tell us more.
Yes. So, as mentioned briefly also during our pre-video call, I was born in 1995 in Southeast China. It was a time that there was this very well-known one-child policy. Was really popular. Was really kind of strict policy, limiting most families to only have one child. But guess what? Nature just made a joke on me because I have an older sister who's like 10 years older than me. For that very reason, I was born at home because my mom couldn't make the delivery in the hospital because then you have to register that baby. So the whole pregnancy, including my birth, the delivery, were sort of hide away as if it's a secret. I don't know how much you remember, as I said in our pre-video call, it was a very, very strange time for Chinese families. It was so strange in a way that people would, depending on where you were, people would literally climb over your roof to see if there's a pregnant lady in that house. And you're going to be asking me, what the hell is that? What are they going to do with that pregnant lady? Guess what? They're going to report to the local office. They're going to find some officials because the reward for them is that if you report to the official, you get some sort of financial rewards. Because having more than one child at that time, let me stress this out, at that time was considered breaking the law. At that time was considered as a sort of crime. And that's the way how I came into this world.
Before we go further, how does it make you feel if we talk about it?
While I was saying these things out loud, as if a heavy rock, let's call it this way, a heavy rock was slightly lifted off a little. Yeah.
As you can imagine, the person in front of you is trying to grasp what you've just shared with us. And yeah, I only can say I can't even imagine how that must have feel and is feeling. But what impact does that have on you growing up?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for asking that. That's why context matters. So I could tell you this. Due to circumstances of the one-child policy, also the fact that my dad had a very busy job, so he was always away, traveling around China to pick up projects, to earn money, to provide the family, to provide food and education. So due to those two very reasons, I didn't grow up with them. In fact, I was being transferred from one caretaker to another. I left them when I was only 1 year old. Yeah.
What happens right now is that you know a little of my background. I am given away as baby when I was 10 days old and adopted when I was 6 months old, and only to realize when I was 48, so a little later, read a book, Primal Wound, and what a primal wound refers to separation trauma. And so when a baby within the first 12 months get removed of some sort of, on whatever reason, good reason, good intentions or not so good intentions, but the separation in and on itself has a severe impact on our central nervous system, on our neural pathways, on our developmental. It's a developmental trauma. How do you feel that is impacting also your here and now?
Well, it has so much to do with my life, with the way how I was dealing with relationships, with the way how I see myself, how I build my self-confidence, with the way why would I end up choosing coach as my career to start my very own business. It has so much to do with my life.
Let's try to answer that question.
Yeah.
Why so? Why do you think?
Because we were not born in this world without anything. Everyone, if you go outside street now, just look at how everyone's behaving. We all carry certain things on our shoulders. Some are very visible, some are not. Just like trauma, as you talked, separation trauma, right? Even when you were a little baby, you had absolutely no idea because you haven't yet formed your memory.
No, and no speech.
No speech, yes. But deep in your body, something was working. And I can tell you my very own example. So as I said, I was sent away at the age of 1. And between 1 and 12-ish, I was always traveling between different caretakers. And I know very clearly that they're not my dad and mom. In China, we call them uncle or aunts, although they are not really my relatives, but we call them that way. And so from very early on, I just knew I wasn't really together with my parents. This is not my home. This is not my home. So I kept asking myself then, where is my home then? Where are my parents? Why am I different than other kids? Why am I different?
Are you?
I believe I am different. But now I changed my perspective on how I look at that fact. In the past, I was trying so hard. I was so devoted to blend in, to be the same. Because being different in China, when you grew up at that time, was not a good thing. I need to put it out there. And I know if you are tuning in, if you are also Chinese descendants or having Chinese parents, you will understand what I'm saying. And now, I feel like I can finally breathe. I embrace my differences because my differences bring in beauty into this world.
Help me to understand, and the listener to understand, that how is it perceived that you are different if you grow up in the same context as where you are born? Only not in the same family. You are not in the same family, but you're. How is that perceived by the outer world? Because when I look at, I came from India all the way to Beeldhoven, a very small, upper posh little village between Utrecht and Hilversum, and Beeldhoven, and only I think one of the few people of color.
I get what you mean.
And
yes.
especially on school. So that made the difference very obvious and very visually clear.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to understand, and also for the listener, how did the people perceive you and made you feel different? Is it an internal challenge, or was it also an outer challenge, or a combination? Where does that balance lie?
Well, first of all, that's such an important question to ask, because being different across cultures is very different. We have different definition of standing out and blending in. While I was talking about why am I different in China, not in a way that I look different, thank God. For example, my grandmother was a political refugee. So she escaped North Korea during the 50s time and went all the way down south with her two little brothers. And why I say thank God my maternal grandmother is North Korean, because imagine if she would be American or European descendants, I would definitely stand out even more, because I would have European features, which probably wasn't really a blast. Blended kids
perceived as a blast.
Perceived as a blast. Yeah. So let me. I want to say something very important to all the listeners out there. I don't know who you are because I couldn't see you. If you somehow a misraised kids, let me tell you this: feel proud of your papa and mama to bring you to this world. It's very important. Very important. Remember that. Back to my story. Okay. So I didn't really stand out for the way how I look, because Korean features, Chinese features, we have so much overlaps. So it's not about how I look. It's about how I behave. And the fact that we have those parental meetings every semester. Why Krystal's parents are never present? Why is this a weird uncle and aunties?
Something also, it's good that you mentioned something also in certain behavior which is different, because although I have the genetic markers not from here, I'm a fish in the water, because my whole demeanor, my whole behavior, my whole language, my whole speech, my whole is typical, really Dutch. And so on the other side, when I've been to India in 2023 for the first time, when they're back to India. And that was really interesting, because I've never been in a plane with so many people with the same genetic markers as being in the KLM flight to Mumbai. And I was really like, hey, they all look like Swedish, like me. Yeah. I never had that. And then I was in India. But the thing was, they right away noticed that although you have some, but they looked at me like, there is something with you.
Something is wrong with you, dude.
Something is wrong with you.
You're not from here.
No, and the first time I really felt a little bit like I get discriminated was when I was paying, I needed to pay a fee for to enter a museum, and you had the local fee, and you had the tourist fee, and there was a difference of 7 times in between.
Wow!
And I was, of course, I thought like, hey, but I'm originally from Mumbai, so I'm a local. So I was like, and they were like tick 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 tick, and they were with gunmen were there because it was a palace, and they were like, you have
Not
to
gonna
pay.
happen.
No, you have to pay it. And I was like, this
my.
is how it feels when you, because I never, that's maybe also, do you feel in the past, when that, do you feel othered? Or do you feel discriminated? Or what is the feeling how did it made you feel? Is it othering, discrimination?
Wow. That really hits me deep. I wouldn't necessarily call it discrimination because, again, I look exactly almost the same as everybody. Like I said, North Korean features and Chinese features, because we all came down from Mongolian ethnicity. So we share a lot of similarities in the way how we look. However, if my mother would be here today, she would be a better person to be asked this question. Why? She had a Chinese father and a Korean mother. And let me tell you this, my grandpa, my mother's father, of course, his entire family was working for the national government at the time. It's called KMT. For those who don't really understand Chinese/Asian history, let me tell you this. China used to be called Republic of China. I have to be very careful with my words here, okay? China used to be called Republic of China, and the national government at the time is called KMT. For those who are familiar with this name, you heard it right. KMT is one of the ruling parties right now in Taiwan, which also hence our rules that why on the geopolitics, China and Taiwan never see each other eye to eye. That's part of heavy reason. That's why context matters. Yeah.
You mentioned your mother.
Yes.
If she was here.
Yes.
When did she pass away?
Still, I thought I've done this chapter of grief, but still it hits me somewhere.
Of course.
Let me take my time to answer this question. We lost her on November in 2024. Yeah, 2024.
Feel free to answer this question or not, but I feel I want to ask the question, and it's up to you.
Yes.
What do you believe in? Do you believe in she's gone or she's still here?
She's still here. She's living in me now. She's living in me now. I can tell you this. If she's still alive today, and if my omoni, that means grandma, if the three of us were standing in the line right now, you couldn't tell who is who because we look so much alike. And I can tell you this, it's truly a blessing because now each time I look myself in the mirror, as if my mother came back but only became younger. What a blessing, right? That I look exactly like my mother. How nice is that?
Beautiful.
Right? Yeah. So powerful, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So now, you see, grief doesn't have to be that heavy. First of all, allow it to be heavy when it's heavy, okay? But it's not the only answer. Have you ever watched the film or the movie called Coco?
No.
It's such.
Should I?
You really should. It's about how we honor people and celebrate their death because they're not really gone. what's the definition of someone who's truly gone? Is that no one knows.
Yeah.
It's about remembers. As long as you hold on your memory of that person, he or she is always here with you, with us today.
And that's very interesting. That makes it real personal for me too, because I've never and will never meet my mother consciously, because I was given away as baby when I was 10 days old. And the trauma is stored, it's scientifically proven, in our implicit memory and neural pathways and so forth and so on. But I come to believe only very recently, I think 1 or 2 years now, that in a lot of situations, I felt she was there.
Beautiful.
And in a lot of decisions, if you look at my life with all the crossroads, it could have easily go the wrong way. And yet, somehow, although sometimes making the wrong decisions, but in the end, always find the strength to get back on track. Wow. And my friends call that discipline. Yeah, I'm a former Marine, so you're a Marine and you're disciplined and you're sport and everything. I believe it is deeper than that, because I really believe it's not only about discipline, it's also about what makes you decide to choose a path which feels harder, but you have to do it anyway. And I believe that comes from, I believe for me personally, it comes from a deep feeling of a sense of empowerment, which my mother gave me at birth. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that ultimately I'm not alone. She's not here in physical form, but in some sort of way, she lives through me. Can you imagine? I grew up without any genetic markers, without any ancestry around me, in a total new context, and everything was different. The smell, the temperature, the culture, the language, the looks of the people, everything. And in hindsight, it's always easy to connect, or it's only possible, like Steve Jobs says, to connect the dots in hindsight. I always felt this, I never felt really alone.
That's really beautiful.
So when you and what you shared about, I feel she lives from within. If you have told me that 5 years ago, I was like, so many people say that, but what does that actually mean?
Yeah, what do you mean? It sounds so fluffy.
So fluffy. And without the judgmental part of the word fluffy, but for me it was, I don't recognize it. And I don't feel that. And maybe I was more judgmental about myself. Like, okay, why is it for everybody so understandable? I just don't get it. When you were in a funeral and people say, she or he lives through me and inside, when I'm like, what do you mean? She just went in the
Physically, yes, you're not wrong, right? But that's the thing. So sometimes why certain things speak so much volume and value to certain people, whereas for others, they just don't get it at all.
Krystal, and while we're having this conversation, I'm also curious. What do you feel? Hey, we talk a little bit. We touch a little bit upon home. And we will get there also, because we're going to to dive a little deeper in the context and the concept of home. Where's home?
Where's home?
But also, you grew up in China.
Yes.
Now you're 7 years here.
Yes.
You have your ancestors also with Korean backgrounds.
Yes, correct.
What do you feel is your nationality?
Wow. Damn, can I swear? I can swear,
yeah, of course.
Right? That's my real reaction. Oh, damn. Whew. I can tell you this. If you ask me the same question, not even 5 years ago, even just 3 years ago, I would say, of course, I'm Chinese. I would die as one. No question asked, no doubt. Now you ask me again, I'm going to say, I still recognize myself as Chinese. My passport says so, but my soul says something else. I'm more than just Chinese. Yes.
Where does that shift come from?
That shift, if I really have to think about this question, I believe that shift comes from that I truly start to see myself. Give myself this permission to see, hey, Krystal, all these things happen to you. But it's up in your hands to decide how you want to tell your story. If we start talking about narrative, there's something very common we start to see around people, in the people around us. It's so-called victim mindset, victimhood. Oftentimes we hear people, especially traumatized people, start to dwell on their past. Person A did me wrong. Why the world is so unfair? Why everything is so unfair? Why things keep happening to me? I was there as well. I used to blame everyone else in this world. I used to blame my papa, my mama, my grandmother, my grandfather, name it. But that victimhood, that victim mentality, doesn't really drive me any further. It only captured me in this cage, my very own prison. And now, just recently, I finally broke out of that prison.
Mental prison.
Exactly, mental prison. So the danger of this victimhood or victim mentality, however you call it, is that it limits you from taking actions. It's a sense of powerlessness. Let us think. A sense of powerlessness. Isn't it right? Because, okay, I understand. Hear me out here. I have my own trauma. You do too. To whoever who's listening, you have your own very form of trauma. It's okay. The thing is, don't let your past define you. What about we invite our trauma, we invite our past to the table, eat with us, say, hey, okay, I allow you to shape me, but guess what? I will never allow you to define me. And that's very important.
It's an interesting distinction you're making about between defining and shaping.
Yes, right? So let's talk about it. Let's dive into it. When we talk about defining, we often say statements like this. I'm angry. I am worthless. I am shameful. How do they make you sound? How do these phrases make you sound? Oh, make you feel, sorry.
Curious. I'm getting curious.
Okay.
That's me. But I feel sorry also for them because, and I think the curiosity wins. So I would love to understand. Okay, where does that come from?
Yeah.
And if it's a repeating thing, or is it a recent thing, or is it the thing out of the past, or is it with a situation right now, or are they worrying for the future? Where does it come from? What does it fuel? What does it fuel?
Yeah. If you could allow me to go back to defining and shaping, I will tell you this. Defining is all about 100% purity. For example, I'm emotional. I'm nothing but emotional. So this nothing but is a problem, is problematic here. Whereas shaping is that right now I feel emotional. I feel, because guess what? Our feelings are temporary. They come and go.
This is what I 9 out of 10 also share with my clients. That sometimes I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have, and you only have to add one word, and it's magic. What happens? The word on it in and on itself, but the timing and that word, yet.
Wow.
And it does something. It's simple and profound, but it does something, because I am not this, or I don't do that, or I don't have this, or and it's about perspective. It's about, okay, good that you know right now.
Yes.
And what if you think about yet?
Yeah.
And like,
so you give it a nuances.
Yeah, you give it, and you give it also it feels a little bit of hope, right? A little bit of like, okay. Let us circle back to you've mentioned that it's only recently that you are not blaming and not angry anymore.
Yes.
How did it first, before we dive into, okay, what helped you and how did you make that transition or shift, or how do you want to name it? But how did the anger manifest? Or the blame, or how did it manifest?
Yeah. Ooh, to tell you this, I want to first share something very quick, and it's related to my book of 2025. Allow me to share this book.
Yes, please do so.
So, actually there are two, but for this question, I think this book matters more.
And what is this book?
Yeah. Yes. This book is called Between Us, How Cultures Create Emotions. To tell you this, guys, I'm always so passionate, so committed in cross-cultural communication and management. I myself is a living example. But this book is so powerful in the way that it's healed me so much. So let's talk about anger. Do you actually know anger is a privilege to express across cultures?
A privilege?
Yes.
How so?
A privilege you need to earn. You're not given. That's how privilege is, right? If we talk about the very definition of privilege. And if we talk back about anger, within our 6 fundamental feelings, anger is the most outward emotion if we really think about it. Because of anger, we took actions, right? Flight or fight. Flight, we took the action to avoid the situation. Fight, we took the action to defend ourselves.
Or to attack.
To attack, exactly. To attack or defend. 2 ways. That's anger's doing, is calling us to do. So like I said, anger is this very strong emotion, very outwarded if you think about it. But let me tell you, anger can be channeled as energy, as motivation. Yes, anger can be beautiful. It's not a demon. Don't deny it. Allow the access to you. Don't suppress it. No. Don't numb yourself. Feel the anger.
I follow you all the way, of course. Yet, why is it so difficult for us to make that shift? Because rational, of course, it's like, wow, it's fuel, it's energy. And it's energy channeled in a different way. And it moves us forwards and it propels us and it's I'm on, drive. But when we're angry, you don't give a F about that. And we're just angry. And it's
true.
Flight or fright. But
that's true.
And you've mentioned the book. How did that book help you?
It helped me to find so many aha moments. oh, it's not that I'm guguk, that I'm niet normal. I'm so normal. I'm so wise because I
are you so
figured
normal?
Okay, I will let it land. In a way, I feel like, wow, this book taught me so much. Finally, I can locate all these intense feelings running, bubbling inside of me. Turns out, anger is indeed a privilege across cultures. Let's talk about China and the Netherlands. On the surface level, these two nations look very different. I agree. However, these two nations, we are all emotionally reserved. Talk about workplace. Chinese people never ever lose shit or barely lose their shit at workplace. They would love to maintain this professionalism about them because they care so much about how others perceive them.
Is that sorry to interrupt,
Yes.
but to step in, but is that then a sort of way? I'm trying to understand that.
Yes.
So it's not is it a sort of way of keeping up appearances? In some sort of way?
Yes. Because our emotions are very ours. That means outwarded and situational. So it depends on situation. And for us, just talk about anger. We will always use anger as an example in this case, okay? Anger has many shapes and forms. And let's talk about the Netherlands. Why I say both cultures are emotionally reserved at workplace. Because in the Netherlands, we have this famous saying, doe maar normaal, dan doe je al gek genoeg. Doe normaal. We say that to each other. But what does doe normaal truly mean?
Conform to the norm?
Yeah, exactly. But my norm can be very different than yours. So tell me, where is this common sense of a normal?
Who decides?
And who decide? Exactly that. So in the Netherlands at workplace, I noticed a lot of my Dutch employees, Dutch managers, they're very much emotionally reserved because there's a low tolerance of expressing anger at workplace. Everyone around you, look around. Everyone around you is trying to suppressing the expression of anger. Because in our culture, I'm talking about the Dutch culture. We have low tolerance. Doe maar rustig. Hey, is goed. Hey, alles fijn. Ja, doe maar rustig. And oftentimes, I see you're laughing.
Yeah. But it's also the interesting shift you are making in the language, and I like doe maar normaal.
Yeah, doe maar normaal. Okay, I will do normal, right? And oftentimes we say each other to something, or we say it to ourselves to comfort ourselves. Even when we feel the anger, we say, nou, jammer hè? Nou, ja, prima. Okay, yeah. But you know what? We are not okay. We are not okay.
Krystal, circling back to the book.
Yes.
The aha moments. What were for you a few? It's not. I'm not trying to pinpoint, but aha moments are moments very important to us.
Yes.
Because it opens up something that is 9 out of 10 unconsciously stored somewhere in our deeply inside of us, and due to environment, due to conversation, due to something that happens, due to something visually in front of you happens, or whatever, or a smell, or whatever, helps you to get the unconscious to the conscious and make that aha moment, right? What are a few aha moments that helped you to transition your anger towards channeling it to more healthier energy spent?
This book very much explains to us that there are different ways of expressing the exact same feelings. And expression of anger is very different across different cultures and very much depending on your national value. What do you value, for example? Here we value individualism. We value blending in, so you don't stand out. Keep your heads low, right? Keep on average, because that's where most people go. Whereas in China, our very famous philosophy is called 中庸. That means if there's a bar right here, a ruler, you stand in the middle of this ruler. So you also don't put your heads out. Because why? Oh, it's 中庸. Same as do no mal. Similar. Yeah.
And is it about conformity?
Yes. Because in certain cultures, why patriotism is so popular? Let's talk about US. 10 years ago, it's everyone. I love US. Oh, I have a I love US shirts. China as well. Russia, same. Conformity. Everyone needs to love your country because guess what? Because we have low tolerance to people who are not. Traitor, you betrayed our nation. Shame on you. Sounds familiar in the old times? But in the Netherlands, you tell Dutch person that you should be ashamed of yourself. You don't even love your nation. Oh, okay, jammer, prima. That doesn't.
Don't make a big thing about it.
Yeah,
wow. Yeah. Don't blow it up.
Don't blow it up. Okay, oh, prima. Yeah.
Krystal, and I'm circling back towards, of course, you, because it's your journeys of empowerment, and maybe also good for the audience to elaborate a little bit more about the aim of the podcast, and it becomes more and more clear. It's interesting. It started as an intuitive, thought process, and it's slightly becoming, a real podcast with a growing audience, but also it's an invitation, and it's an invitation to pause and reflect, and to share. And also to really see what resonates in our journey, and but also to remember our journey, because 9 out of 10, if we don't pause and reflect, then we don't really understand where things come from, right?
Correct.
And also the aha moments really happens a lot of times when we take the time, when we pause, when we reflect, and when we really go inward and look at all the setbacks, trauma, pivotal moments, breakthroughs, and so forth and so on. And Journeys of Empowerment is the invitation to really see how all is connecting. So having said that, the Krystal 1.0, what would be a situation what really pissed you off, and how would the Krystal 2.0 react or perceive that situation, and by that react differently?
Wow, thank you so much for that question. That's really a solid question. I think I can think of one classic situation that would piss the little Krystal off, is that peers say, oh, we don't want to play with you anymore. We are no longer friends. You know, I gotta be careful with my words here. Girls tend to do that a lot. We verbally kind of abuse each other by saying, I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to see you anymore. Let's not be friends with her.
As a father of daughters, I can acknowledge that.
Yes. Yeah. Whereas boys, it's more physical. You go into fights, you punch it out in the face. And then it's done. Over. Yeah. Over. With girls, a lot of verbal abuse, We can go very dark, hey? Yeah. It's nasty. It's not nasty, but it's also, again, human nature. A classic situation would be they are saying to me, Krystal, I just don't want to be friends with you. And the Krystal 1.0 would have got furious, so angry. She took that rejection very heavy.
But did you explode it or did you implode it?
I put it out inwards.
Imploding. Okay.
Yes. I try to digest myself by what? By voluntarily distancing myself from the crowd. I was saying to myself, if you don't value me, okay, Krystal, I don't want to be friends with you. Okay, guess what? Let me remove my presence from your life. Okay, ciao, bye. But Krystal 2.0, how will she react? She's like, okay, jammer. Then maybe next one. No big deal. No big deal. There's so many people on this planet, you know?
Maybe they're not aligned anymore with their destiny, right?
Exactly. They get off your train earlier. Guess what? You have way more passengers getting on the train and willing to be on this journey with you. Allow it. Yeah.
Do you believe that, do you feel, the question I want to ask is because anger is also a sort of anchor, right? It's
Yes.
also a sort of anchor. So do you believe the anchor disappeared, or do you believe more in you find another way to, navigate through life and not staying anchored in that anger? What do you believe?
Well, first of all, I can say this. What I don't believe, I disbelieve that anger will just disappear by trying to suppress, to numbing it down. Actually, I would really advise you not to do that. However, by really lashing out doesn't achieve the same goal. In the end, you actually don't feel better by doing so. So what can you do? Right? That's very important. And that's also about focusing on what you could control, your reaction towards it. Can you turn your anger into motivation? The answer is you can. You can. By doing a lot of internal work, you can. You can turn anger, this beautiful, not demonized emotion, into motivation. For example, getting rejected on a date, right? It hurts a lot, isn't it? It hurts your self-esteem.
Ego crusher.
But hey, let's talk about separation of tasks. Is it your task that he or she rejected you? No. It's the action undertook by he or she, right? So what is your task right now being rejected? How you should feel. That is your task. Whether he or she rejects you, it's already done.
Do you believe that's interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe you can control your feeling, or do you believe you can control the way you react on your feeling? What do you believe?
Exactly. You cannot take feelings out of a person.
No.
Otherwise, this person is soulless. Right? It's soulless. Feelings are very beautiful. But as I mentioned earlier, emotions come and go.
And they're teachers.
So let feelings shape us, not define us. Remember I talked about I'm emotional? How about we change it to I feel emotional right now? But maybe, guess what? In 5 minutes, I don't feel so emotional. I feel emotionally regulated. How about that? Right?
What were important elements in your healing journey from the transition from Krystal 1.0 to Krystal 2.0? And what I mean is the elements like, for instance, you have books, but also maybe who was there for you, role models. What were important elements on your healing journey? Therapy. What did you do? What did you do to go inward?
Yes, I'm so happy you asked this question, because this is where I can really jump in and offer my advice to whoever who's listening right now who may need this help, right? So it's really a long journey. But to summarize, I want to make two very important points. First, one very key quality is called self-trust. Self-trust. I train myself to be my biggest supporter, even when nobody's standing beside me. And to become that, I've done so much work myself. That's first. Second, I have built this very strong circle of influence. people I could go to. Not even people, because I have a dog. I really adore him. He's like my son, although a dog.
It's very nourishing.
Yes.
It's very nourishing.
Yes. And my circle of influence right now, my strongest supporters next to myself, of course, right? My husband and my dog Toby. I need to give the stage to these two very, very important creatures in my life, really. As mentioned earlier during our call, I talked about my husband,
yes.
right? How he came into my life as a beam of light. At the time, I was chasing darkness as my end goal. I almost blended in with that pile of darkness until he came to my life in a way like just a tiny beam of light. And suddenly I was like, hey, there's someone else who get me. Hey, someone who sees me the way I am. But guess what? In the end, Krystal, still take the action. Because I don't want young girls out there listening, misunderstanding, you need a man to be a savior in your life. No, that's not what I'm talking about. No. Because in the end, it's still up to you to make that decision. Whether you want to take that hand to get you out of your darkness or stay and sink. It's up to you, We can never, if we really talk about it, we can never change others' behavior. Because guess what? The changing action has to be done by that person. Not us. Same with us, with our own healing journey. We need to take the actions.
What made you allow him in your life at that moment?
Self-trust. I say this 100%. I totally trust myself that at this stage of my life, doesn't matter what kind of decision I make, I stand on this ground firmly. Because I came to this world, doesn't matter how much difficulties I've experienced early on in my life, nature allowed me to survive.
But let me be a little bit strict.
Yeah.
Back to my question, what did help you, or what did allow you? What made you allow him into your life at the darkest moment and darkest period in your life? Self-trust, okay, yes. But what else? Because only trusting yourself doesn't necessarily allow another person to come in.
Self-trust, partnering with courage. Yes. When we talk about courage, it doesn't mean that you're always knowing what you're doing. You're always brave. Courage is like this. Courage is that you're so scared of doing one thing, but you still do it anyway, yes. While feeling scared. That's courage. So self-trust plus courage. Damn, that's a great team. They hold each other's hands. They're like, Krystal, we are here. Fall back on us. Yeah.
So your support system. So what I love to call and tomorrow or Thursday, and there's coming a post on LinkedIn about form your personal board. So when people listening now to this conversation, it's already of course published. But I really believe in a support system around us, right?
Yes.
And personal brand. Who are the people you can call at night when you need and on your terms, because and who are that and for what? So
for what?
The one person you can call for strategic advice, the other person you can call for wellness and well-being and personal stuff. But form your personal board. And what role does therapy in your journey? What role how did therapy help you? Or did you go through therapy? Maybe
I actually did.
Yeah, I know because we spoke a little bit about it. But did you go to therapy and what role?
Yeah. First of all, a little bit of background information. Yeah. As mentioned earlier, on November in 2024, I unfortunately lost my mother. And that was a very, very dark point of my life because there's something else going on, which I'm not going to give the stage. So let's focus on the grieving part. To combat that, I found a specialist who could help me through via conversation therapy. It helped me in a way that, you know what? At the end of my session, when I graduated, my therapist told me like, Krystal, you're finished here. And I was like, huh? What do you mean by finished? I still feel this sadness and anger traveling through my body. How am I finished here? She's like, you reached your end goal here. Have you realized I actually don't say a lot of things. I let you talk because guess what, Krystal? You have everything here and here.
Yeah, you're pointing at your head and your heart.
Yeah,
okay,
yes.
For the listener.
For listeners, yes.
Yeah.
Turns out I have all the power within me, but I'm holding the key at the same time. I'm holding the key. And via
you
therapy,
are holding the key.
Exactly. I'm holding the key. Via therapy, I allow myself to unlock that door to release that power, that inner strength I have.
Was it an aha moment?
Definitely.
For sure, eh?
For sure. Yes.
You see that mini drawing here, standing here on the... That's one of my best friends. She's a podcast guest in Sam Noten.
Uh-huh.
And she's an artist, and she makes beautiful artwork, ikigai artwork.
Wow.
And but she also made, while we're having our conversation, she made based upon what it comes to her. So she's really a really intuitive, sensitive, high sensitive artist, and it comes to her. And you see, if you look at the drawing, you see a lock and you see a key.
Oh, yes.
And she saw, Michiel, you have, her explanation was, Michiel, you have the key to the lock. You have it yourself.
Yes.
Maybe not fully aware, but you have that key.
Yes.
I feel that in everything, and it comes through her. So, so when you explained about the key, and you definitely have the key.
Yes.
It doesn't always mean that we know where the lock is and how to use it.
Yes.
That's
yes. Our body is like a maze, right?
Do you feel your body and mind are always connected?
At this stage, Krystal would say yes, but early on, not always. I have to be very honest here. Early on, not always. Sometimes they were even separated. Like they're just like good friends, but also enemies at the same time. Not sure if you can fully get it, but sometimes they're not always on the same page in the past. Yeah.
So, therapy, books, your personal support group around you.
Yeah. Can I add one thing?
Of course.
That's also powerful. It's called expressive writing.
Ooh.
I found power in expressive writing. A lot of time people would advise you to journal, right? It's something, it has overlapped, but not the same. Expressive writing is like this. Whenever I feel overwhelmed, I grab a piece of paper and pen and start to note down what's ever running inside of my beautiful big head. I just start writing down. Long sentences, short phrases, doesn't really matter. My goal when I use expressive writing is to unload. All the information, all the thoughts, all the bubbled up feelings inside of me. And via expressive writing, I found power in it. Why? Because sometimes this is weird. This is very psychological. Whenever you handwritten down something as if you have let go of something. No?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It releases something and gives you a feel of relief.
Yes,
That made me think about a writing assignment. I once came across a book, and it's called, in Dutch, it is Zes denkende hoofddeksels of de Bono. The author is de Bono, and it's the 6 thinking hats, and they are all different colors. But there was a writing assignment in it, and it was so simple, yet so profound. So because I was really sort of depressed around my divorce. And you keep repeating the same thoughts and the same negativity and the same anger, the same shame, the same, you know, when we keep... And this example is very simple. It's first you write down the situation, what makes you sad. So really in one sentence. So there's something happened right now but try to cap it in one sentence. Yeah. And focus on only that. Then first you are allowed, invited to write down all the plus, all the positivity. So all positive things. So what are all the positive things? Although it doesn't feel like that, there are positive things. Then you get to the minus. So it's plus and minus. Then you get to the minus. You write down all the minus things. I'm angry and I'm lost and I'm broke and I'm emotionally broken and yada yada yada, for example.
Yes.
Now here it comes. And then what are the questions you have? And then you write down all the question marks, all the assumptions you have. So when when you think about the minus, it can be an assumption, but you feel it as it is, like it is. Yeah. You know, but what are the questions? And because of the pluses, the minus, and then ending with what questions do you have? Yeah. So why? So not only why, but also, is it true? Is it really true? Yes, you know, those kind of questions. And it shifts it shifts a sort of, in Dutch we say the angel. It sort of, I hope the coffee is still a little bit, because
it's all right.
We're an hour ahead in our conversation, so I don't think it's warm. It's a frappuccino. Well, but the pluses and the minuses, and then the question marks, it does something. So, and when you beautifully explain about expressive writing, I think, do you also do you have that in one place in a journal? And do you look back sometimes to your expressive writing and see patterns, or never?
I do look back. That's what I do. Another thing is self-reflection. Self-reflect. As you mentioned earlier, we are now in this fast-paced society, right? Everything. Go. Wat volgende? Wat volgende? What's next? What's next? This constant chase for something else doesn't really allow us to slow down. What do we do when we slow down? We reflect. We process whatever happened. So when I do my expressive writing, I write it, I leave it, and I come back. I come back and look at whatever I wrote. As if I was having a self-conversation, traveled via time. To talk to the old me. How powerful is that, right?
Right.
Yeah. Guess what? You can even write a letter to your future self. In 5 years' time, 3 years' time, 1 year time.
I do that yearly.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's very interesting.
Right?
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hey, if we can travel back in time.
Let's rewire.
And if we travel back in time, and you became the Krystal 2.0, heading towards Krystal 3.0.
Yes.
With the lived experience and all the hard work you've done. We go back to the 6-year-old, 7-year-old Krystal.
Yeah.
What would you love to whisper in her ears?
Wow. This is such a... Wow. That allow me to take a moment, huh? It hits me deep. Whew. Wow. If I see her sitting alone by herself on the playground, I would go to that little Krystal and say to her, you got this. Mm-hmm. You got this. Period.
You just did.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
The reason for me saying you just did, because a lot of our behaviors and actions and thoughts and feelings are still really close connected with the younger self.
Yes.
And although we can't turn time back,
Mm-hmm.
still a lot of us is steered by our younger self.
Yeah. Our past.
Our past.
Isn't
and,
it?
Yeah, but it's beautiful. You got this.
Yeah. You got this.
You got this.
And ask yourself this question. Do you want to have a prison or a heaven? Do you want to have a prison or a heaven? Depends on you. Your past can serve as a mental prison that you will never break out, or do whatever internal work you have to do. Keep on fighting, keep on battling, but turn that prison into heaven.
You've got the key. You've got the
You've
key.
got the key. It's all in you, right? Yes. We got this.
We got this.
Yes.
Krystal, since we're heading towards the end of this episode, also to align it with what you're doing right now, share a little bit more about your target group of people you would love to help.
That's a really, really good question. Yeah. So as mentioned, I'm the founder of WayBeyond Coaching, and I call myself intercultural strategy partner, as since young, I've been traveling around places. I've lived across multiple countries, multiple cultures, and I came to realize this one thing. It's also very much related to my personal experience. So there are two threats holding my whole life. One is cross-cultural communication. The other is cross-cultural management. There's so many beautiful cultures out there. It is unrealistic and impossible to learn each one of them. But guess what? There are things we can train. And one thing of those things is called cultural sensitivity, and the other is called cultural competence. These are the two things we can train ourselves. And the end goal of that is to allow differences. I allow me to be me. I allow you to be you. Yeah.
And what does it say about your audience you are targeting towards?
Yes. So my audience or my dear clients, they are the very ones who struggle with cross-cultural communication for various reasons. And my goal or my role, let's say my role as a coach, as a consultant, however you put it, in this case is to hold up this mirror, to let them see it themselves. We can talk about anything. For instance, one very specific example. Our very own definition of respect comes in different forms. Cross cultures, cross personalities, cross different upbringings, cross generations, right?
Are the people you are coaching the same as the people you are having in the group? No, The one group is the coaches,
Yes.
and the other group is the coachees. So who are the coachees? Are they employers or employees, founders, leaders? What are you aiming
Yeah.
for?
At the moment, I have one focus.
Yeah.
And that's also, again, tied up with my own experience. I want to help all the managers, I emphasize managers out there who struggle to manage different employees with different backgrounds, generations, etc., etc. I need to help them to understand management better in the cross-cultural sphere. Because it's tricky stuff. Oftentimes we tend to, we have this thing like we oftentimes criticize, blame these managers, but guess what? They are just human as well. They have their shortcomings as well. I've had terrible managers, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, I feel sad for them because they were never taught anything better. They've never taught.
Empty toolbox.
Yes. So for them, it's also a headache for them. Guess what? They are also struggling. And by doing so, by training managers, I also help employees.
They are the benefit. They benefit.
Exactly.
No.
They are the end result of this training. Guess what? Yeah.
True.
Yes.
I have a question for you. Again.
Please.
Again, of course. No,
Please, yeah.
What question do you want to ask me?
Oh, what question can I ask you? Okay. That's interesting. Ooh. Okay, I have one very good question. What is your core quality? For example, if I take away this podcast host title from you, if I take away, I'm sorry to say this, your friends, family, if I take everything away from you, there's only you. What is your core quality that's still standing firm? What is that? What has left?
Well, you can say it in 10 words. And that's the people who really know me will all acknowledge it. I'm an enabler of meaningful connections and empowering interactions. And me in 3 words is energy, connection, so
Connections, plural, yeah.
and empowerment. And those 3 combined makes me unique, who I am. That's in everything what I do. I love to empower you. It sounds very cheesy, but if you know me, in every interaction, I'm always looking for connection and connections.
Yes.
And that real sense of empowerment. I always would love to see the shift happening inside of us. Like, yeah. I learned something, or a aha moment, and that's so if you have to put it in 1 word, connection. So connection and connection. And being a born connector. And it comes from being disconnected. So feeling disempowered, feeling disconnected, and turn it around and made it a superpower. I don't love the word, but it is what makes me. Michiel, strip everything away. He's born to connect, really to connect.
That's really beautiful.
Thank you for asking.
Thanks for sharing. My gosh, that's so beautiful.
I have one last question.
All right, bring it on.
Because you are here on a mission, and that mission can change over time, but you are very mission driven.
Yes.
Now I give you a magic wand. And I give you one opportunity to change one thing in the world you would love to see to change.
Yeah.
You can do only one strike.
Only one strike?
Yeah, only one strike. So only one strike, it works only one time. Yeah. What would be the change you would love to see happening? and why?
Okay. Ooh. Powerful question. If I only have one goal and one goal only, sometimes makes things easier, by the way. I want to help you, whoever who's listening, communicate across differences with 3 powerful key tools. I want to help you communicate across difference with clarity, with credibility, and guess what? With charisma.
Charisma.
Yes. Charisma.
Clarity.
Credibility. And
charisma.
yes.
Then I have a last question. What is for you charisma? What is charisma?
Yeah. Early on, you talk about connection and the plural form of connections, right?
Yeah.
Charisma may sound very intangible at first, but to bring it down, to make it stand on its ground, it's actually connectability plus networking with intention. Think about it.
Interesting.
Yes.
We need a next episode, right? Because I have tons of questions around this one.
We should, yes. Yeah.
One last nugget of wisdom from your side to the audience. If you have to name one thing you want to share with the audience, what is that?
Yeah. If you hanging tight until this moment, I need to tell you this. You got it.
Boom.
No one else. You got it. Period.
Krystal, thank you very much for this conversation. I truly enjoyed it. Hope you too.
Me too. Thank you so much for giving me this chance to talk about it so that others can hear it and heal themselves as well. Yeah.
Thank you for listening and for staying all the way through. If something from this episode lingered, consider sharing it with someone who might need it right now. And if you choose to subscribe or leave a short review, you help these conversations reach others who are still searching for clarity, direction, or belonging. And if you're a founder listening who feels the work no longer fully fits, there's a space to pause, a grounded conversation to explore what gives you energy, what drains it, and what may be asking to shift. You can find that space at journeysofempowerment.com and see whether it resonates. That's how the circle widens, quietly, one listener at a time. Keep going, keep becoming you.